Everybody smiles in the same language. A smile, let your light come shining through.
Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. I'm Sandra M., coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the land of enchantment. I interview people from all parts of the world about what happiness means to them. What are they in love with? In each episode, we'll give you a key to happiness to include in your life. And of course, we'll play a happy tune from my live Celebrate Happiness Roadshow.
A smile doesn't cost you anything.
Today we're talking with Eugene S. Pickett III, a.k.a. Trey Vision, who is an African-American artist and dancer with over 20 years of experience in dance, choreography, and community development. He is the founder of the Albuquerque, New Mexico Vizon Dance Academy, which focuses on utilizing dance and other fine arts to tell stories, share culture, and create meaningful dialogues that uplift Black, Indigenous, and people of color in marginalized and underserved communities both in the United States and around the world. Trey, an accomplished musician, choreographer, performer, and videographer, has numerous credits, which include Dancing Earth, the Santa Fe Opera Alto Program, the Santa Fe Museum of Indian Arts and Cultural Identity Project, and he has been the lead performer in countless productions, from The Nutcracker to Planet Indigenous. Welcome, Trey. I'm so excited to talk to you about happiness.
Hello, Sandra. I'm so excited to talk with you as well, and this is just something I've been looking forward to.
Well, thank you, and we are too. And so I always start with the same question to everybody, and that is, what makes you happy? I mean, what is your passion in life? Could you share
Sandra,
that with us?
Yes, absolutely. And Sandra, truly what makes me happy is being able to express oneself or myself just honestly and every breath of what it is that I do. And what my passion is I have a true passion for dance and for sharing arts and movement with community and allowing for people to know how much movement and dance is a healing modality, and it really helps with mental health and just the sacred space of being in connection with one's body, mind, and spirit. It's a unifying factor. And so for me, I am passionate about dance, and I just feel so happy not only dancing, but sharing the gift that I was born with.
How long have you been dancing?
I've been dancing ever since I was out. My goodness. My mom says I was kicking around and dancing ever since I was in the womb. However, as soon as I came out, she said I continued to dance. So my mom would say I've danced my whole life. I would say I started dancing once I got to college. But then the true story would say that I started dancing at a young age because when I played video games at Jackie Robinson Community Center in California, I used to not ever really have many quarters. So I would play the games without quarters, but I would enact all of the sounds of the games and dance about the whole entire arcade because there was an arcade there at Jackie Robinson Community Center. And the funny part is I was 5 at that time, 4 or 5 years old. And what wound up happening later is I wasn't able to take the dance classes, but I would watch my sister's dance classes at, around the same age and at 6 and everything. And so I'd be dancing outside of the classes with my little Paddington bear. But then I also would wind up getting to the point where my mom would start taking me to the community dance classes with her. And I would just wind up getting told, boy, just get on in here and dance. Instead of you just sitting there fighting it, get on in here and dance. So I would begin to dance at the classes, and a lot of people remember seeing this little boy who was going with his mom to the dance classes at, 6, 7, 8 years old, just dancing in all those classes, even though those were, for adults. And then by the time I was actually about 9, 10, I was taking more classes from African dance from a lady named Rejeko Dumashina, and then also another lady named Vimalakshi, and then this would later become that I danced with an African dance troupe when I was about 10 and 11 years old. And so basically I've been dancing since I was in the womb, but then I continued dancing all the way until now.
So African dancing, I have had some experience myself. I found it very difficult because I'm very tall, and being in a plie, which for our listeners is in second position, bent knees, right?
Yes.
Doing a lot of movement in that position was very difficult for me because I had very long legs. I couldn't actually go across the floor that quickly in that position. Now, was that just my particular class, or is that indigenous to African dancing?
Well, what I would say is that very much so, the movement of staying within soft knees and or bent position of the legs is very, very, very African, because it's all about being grounded. They say don't run away from the earth. So it's more or less that you always are trying to be closer to the earth, and the way that you get closer is by softening the knees and grounding in. And something that one of my teachers, Vimalakshi, would always say is she would say, everything good comes from the earth. And so you must always get close to the earth, get close to her. And so I would say that truly moving from that place of having a loose spine, neck, and ability to also ground into those soft knees is hard. It actually takes a lot of muscle and control. And the truth of it is that the closer you get to the ground, the more strength that you require, because it actually it's easier to stand upright than it is to walk on all fours. And so thusly is the way of movement, is that the more bend you require, the more muscle and connection to everything moving there must be as well, which can be hard for people.
Yes, well, so moving right along, I didn't do too well at that, but I had done a lot of ballet, etc., which is actually going up, down to up. But I wanted to get into a little more of a conversation about how you use dance to work with I think you said people who are underserved and indigenous communities, and how dance works with creating more well-beingness and happiness for people?
Absolutely. And to piggyback on the down to up and everything like that, we know that in ballet, for instance, the down to up we would consider like ballon, which is like that bounce to be able to fly and move up and down quickly. And what I think of that is that ability to rise is what it is that I've found dance has created in the air, but it's the thing that it gives people a lift in their spirit and their smiles and their ability to move through whatever it is that they're going through. So dance has become, for me, a practice that in engaging community is a way to continually uplift the spirits of everyone, because we don't know what everyone is going through. And truthfully, every time the music gets going, it brings the joy. Every time the dance gets moving, even if someone is frustrated that day, they can dance that. And then that right there allows them to move through the process of where they are in their life. So for me, it has been quite a journey of both being within schools, being within community centers, teaching with professional companies, and also just being even in the land with people and just moving in any and every way. It has really been beautiful to also witness just the fact of even bringing dance to people that aren't necessarily able to move as functional as everyone else. That being said, people that have been in wheelchairs that we've helped move, or people that also, again, are underserved and truly don't get the opportunities because of financial barriers. It has been a true thing where it's like this gift of even returning dance to people of which it has come from but is taken. A lot of kids may not have ever done a dance that is their own, but they've seen other people do their dances. And I say that from everything that I've been able to see in my journey, which has also been kind of sad at times to see people do dances that are not their own, but they can afford to take classes in, and then other people that they may be their actual dances not be able to. So it's made me so happy to be able to bring that back to the community, to see the smiles, to see the growth, and also to see the engagement and the healing that it's brought.
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
Could you elaborate a little bit on the healing that it has brought? You said that the music and the dance brings the joy. I love that. It brings on the joy, right? So
Right.
What kind of joy? Is it a spiritual? Is it people release a lot of tension and stress? Because I know that you must be doing this for yourself. As you say, you've been dancing in the womb, right? So somehow you connect with the joy of movement. How do other people find that when you teach?
Well, when I teach, I think of myself like the most beautiful contagion. I walk into the space and I've already made up in my mind that everyone is going to catch me, and more or less not just catch me, but catch the spirit in which I am coming, which is in love. And in that space, I've seen a room go from everyone being very resistant to not want to move, and or even sometimes bring on the whole baggage of the day or even their whole entire life. And what I see often is people begin to cry, or people begin to laugh, or people begin to actually feel their bodies, and they let out a because they can actually feel things moving they have not. And the most beautiful part is that for me, this idea of our breath, this idea of moving and actually having what happens to be these endorphins and a release that happens within the brain. And they say that we become 80% healthier just by moving, let alone when dancing and experiencing joy centers. So that being said, when we're moving and dancing and experiencing those joy centers, then that makes the rise of not just the mental health, but the physical health happen. And while someone is moving in this way and connecting to all these centers within the body, what winds up happening is they're anchoring this sense of their spirit becoming alive. So when you see someone all of a sudden and their eyes are just lit up and they're moving from this place and it's just pure, they're not thinking about the next step, but they're just flowing, their spirit has come back online and not even maybe come up back online, but just been invited for a play. And as that happens, the most beautiful and the expression, it is something that no one will ever forget. And so for me, every time I dance, it can always just be for myself. But if I was just moving alone, it would not be nearly as fun as being able to also share it with people through either performance or teaching, because I feel that when we find these wonderful gifts and nuggets and trinkets, it's just like with the Buddha or with anyone that has been within these religions, they share the gifts of wisdom that they've had so that others may also find the gift of opening up and expanding, because the planet will be better because we came this way. So I truly have seen even in rooms of elders and people that may not have been able to even think they could move, when they're given that permission to say, well, wherever you are in your body, let the dance meet you there. Let the dance meet you in your chair. Let the dance meet you on your eyelashes, even if that's all that you can do, is bat your eyelashes as though it was a butterfly doing a dance on the air. Every little thing, even if it's just your voice, let your voice be the dance if that's the case. And just and let it move as it is a dance.
Yes. And now you do this at the New Mexico, is it Vizon? Is that how you say it? Vizon Dance Academy?
I'm so awesome. It sounds like I need a croissant with that. But it's actually Vision, and it's VII, that's 3 I's, VON, Vision, and it's Vision Academy. And so, yes, I founded Vision, and with my lovely partner, Vanessa Mathis, we have been in community and building the dance and building the competition team and building these spaces where people can come and play and move. And so our dance school is called Vision Academy, actually located here in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
And how long have you been running the academy?
So we have been in the academy for 2 years running. This is our 3rd year, and we have entered our 3rd year of competition, and we actually have this year already received some amazing accolades. One of our students wound up getting a 1st overall, which is a very high honor at the competition in the advanced level, but has only been dancing for a number of years and was up against dancers that have been dancing their whole lives. And so, again, this is a great celebration story of our dancers coming from a place where they started at an offset from, let's say that they didn't have the same starting line. Well, we've been able to teach them at a rate where they're catching up to people that have had more opportunity and longer opportunity. So it is beautiful to witness, and this is our 3rd year of Vision going into competition and also sharing the dance with the community. So this is entering our 3rd year here.
Fantastic. So I also wanted to just explore the concept of basic energy, because obviously dance is a physical energy. But energy itself, as you mentioned, is expressed through spirituality, it's expressed through the voice, it's expressed through your psychology, the way you perceive the world. But I would imagine that dance itself, because it is a physical act, basically, I mean, you have to use your body, and your body is where you live. I mean, people live in their body. Yes. Could you talk a little bit just about how to release that basic energy through dance?
Absolutely. And you said something that was so keen to me. It was that we live in our bodies. And so the first idea that I always enjoy kind of joking with, but also being so serious about, is the fact that we are born in this body, so how can we forget it? The second thing that I like to say is we have the largest organ in our body on the outside of us, and that is our skin. So these beautiful skin suits and these beautiful bodies that we walk around in every day need a little bit more life, because whether or not we know it, that movement, even if it's just to lift the shoulders up to the ears and feel them pinch all the way up and then let them down and feel that tension release. For me, the idea is to get people to explore the idea that lifting the elbow to pick up a glass of water is a movement of something that I almost think of robotic. We've done it so many times we don't even think of it as movement. So I like to then change the idea of we're not just dancing, we're experiencing joy by connecting to the movement that is already natural. We are natural movers by nature. So when we experience joy while moving, that is what I call the dance. So it's celebrating our skin suit. It's celebrating that beautiful sense that we were born with this thing and we will have this thing the whole time we're here. So let's be a little bit kinder to it by moving, laughing, playing, maybe even crying or experiencing the maybe the tensions that we need to let go and release, because as we move, we have those endorphins both release and also build things within the movement. So the idea is to let people have what I would call is an associative linking idea by saying, here's movements you've probably done before. You picked up a bag. You've gone to the grocery store. Now let's experience those movements with a laugh by learning how these same movements can become our dance. And so truly, we are natural movers by nature. And so being able to experience the fullness of whatever our bodies have is what I then call the dance. And when I share that with people, they have more permission to not think, so then I have to know these steps and I have to know this and that. No, you don't have to know any of that. You just have to know that yourself is inside of a body that has a beating heart. And now breathe with that. And now what does that make you feel if I say breathe and blow your arms out like the wind was moving from your fingertips? How did that feel?
Right.
As we do those things, it makes it more natural.
We invite you and yours to an intimate 14-day happiness journey to Bhutan, the lost kingdom of happiness, coming in May of 2024. Experience the magnificent beauty, magic, and mystery of this ancient culture that calculates the gross national happiness of its people. Happiness, Bhutan style, is an adventure of a lifetime. Go to BhutanLostKingdomTours.com and click on Special Tour Packages to download your itinerary for Being in Love with Life, a happiness journey to Bhutan with Miss Sandra McKnight. And remember, celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
Yes, like the dance of life.
The dance of life, yes. Dance and all its spirals and beauty, dance of life.
I have one more question for you, and I think you had mentioned earlier that when you walk into a room to teach a class, you walk into the room with love so that they can catch the love. And to me, happiness, I like to celebrate happiness, but basically, when you're in love with life and when you have the love coming from your heart, happiness just happens. So could you tell a little bit more about how you enter that room when you have a group of people and they're all thinking, oh, I have to learn steps, or I don't know what dance is about, or this or that. And you say, I enter that room so they can catch the love. How do you prepare that? How does that happen for you?
Well, it happens by a few things. I was introduced to a great idea called cooking by feel. And that idea alone would summarize half of what it is that I prepare like. I think to myself, what is it that I feel right now? So by cooking by feel, I look into what comes up, and sometimes that's songs, and sometimes it may be that I realize, today I think that we need this in the space, so I may bring a singing bowl, or I may bring the little shakers, or I may actually feel that in the room today we need to have slower music. So by me basically curating a space before I enter, I bring lights and I do lots of things to curate the space before everyone arrives. Then when they arrive, I feel now the energy they've brought in the room, and that's where the second recipe secret comes in, which is that first I was already cooking my feel by preparing before they arrived with music, with the lights, with the already pre-planned ideas of maybe I bring a shaker, or maybe we're going to do claps, because claps make energy want to run from the room that isn't welcome. And then I say, now everyone has arrived. And when everyone has arrived, I feel the idea of like the cloud. The cloud meaning that just like the internet has a cloud where we store memories and all these things, people walk with the cloud. And what I try to do is open myself partially, not fully, because I don't want to take on everyone's energy as though it's my own, but I open myself partially to say, let me tap into the cloud, the consciousness that is present, so that I can see what may be necessary in the room. Then I try to offer some of that, because some people may not be able to spin on their head, for instance, but they can maybe lower their hands and touch their forehead to the floor. And the things that I like to do is look and feel and lean into how it is that we're in relationship. And by doing that, tapping in or checking in, we ask and we say, how do you feel today? We also feel into that idea, which is that our intuition. Once we have this secret ingredient of cooking by feel, that we have this opportunity to lean into the space of even just like how Grandma had once felt. Grandma would just make the food with all of the spices and everything she felt, and then everybody would say, Grandma, what did you do to make this food? It's so good. She said, well, I just went ahead and put my foot in it, darling. And so what I would think by that is that it's not that she actually put her foot in the food. It's that there was a feeling that she went to or a place that we can go. But when we cook by feel, it's just delicious. So I think of creating the space or teaching as though we're creating a delicious dish, and I just try my best with all of my heart and love to make a dish that everyone can enjoy, because that makes me so happy. And not only that, but it's something that I'm so happy to share and to help people feel into.
This is a wonderful way for us to end our conversation. And I'm telling you, I would love to come down to the Academy and take a class with you. I mean, you have inspired me, and I'm sure the listeners also, to just get into the movement and allow their joy to come forward through the dance.
Well, to end, what I would love to say is that I think of it like this. Many people go to places to worship or to celebrate life, whether it's to church or whether it's to the land or wherever they go, even if it's to, sacred dwellings that they celebrate. But the most sacred dwelling that I know of is our bodies. And I feel that when we are able to dance and return to that space, the beauty is that we connect to our ancestors, the land, and each other more. So I would love to see all of us as people dance more, speak less, and just feel the joy of movement, because it truly heals, and I've seen its power, and especially to make people just feel joy and laugh and feel the happiness that is bubbling within the secret of moving our skin. And so if I was to say one final thing, I would say if you just move without judging yourself or ourselves, then that is what dance can be with the music, even if it's the sound of the crickets in the forest, the movement expressing the joy of life is the most beautiful thing that we can do without words. And so I would just say, let's move more, and that makes me so happy to share that gift.
Thank you so much, Trey. Move more, talk less, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Monthly Key to Happiness 20. Take yourself out for some fun. Going out alone can be very enjoyable, and who knows who you might meet. Go to your favorite restaurant, take in a movie, or go on that trip you've always dreamed of. Spending some deliberate time alone can help you reconnect with what truly makes you happy. Newsflash! Please sign up for your personal copy of our Keys to Happiness at the SandraMcKnight.com website. Thank you for tuning in to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. And if you enjoyed the conversation, please help spread the word by sharing our podcast with your friends and family. And before we go, I'd like to thank today's guest, Eugene Pickett, a.k.a. Trey, for sharing his happiness story. And to share your happiness story on the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast, send an email to Sandra@SandraMcKnight.com.
Turn your smile on, you can't go wrong.